Smarter Markets is back at FIA Boca with Anthony Crudele and your Senior Vice President, NinjaTrader Media. Good to see you, Anthony. How's everything been?
Everything's great. Super busy and glad to be here in Boca.
Yeah, since we talked last year, it's been a big year for you. What's been going on?
Well, we expanded out from just live to doing in-person events and just expanding out our content creators, using traders that are trading, futures products on our platform and, just doing a lot more with them. I mean, the space is growing so much so quickly. Getting with the end users has just been a goal of ours, and that expansion is prevalent right now.
That's great. And, every year we all come down to Boca because it's the place to see everyone, catch up with everyone. And I was curious, what brought you this year and who are you looking to catch up with? What types of industry participants? And what do you want to be discussing?
Boca is interesting because I would say it's an event where it's really different from all of the other FIA conferences. I think it's the most international. I think it's the one that pretty much you get everybody here. I mean, we just saw Terry Duffy talking up there with Tarek. You've got Jeff Sprecher. You've got all of the exchange leaders here. And I think that makes it very unique. And really everyone in our industry finds their way here at some point. And so it's good to come here and get the pulse of what's happening in the space. I think that this conference every year kind of sets the tone for what people are going to be focusing on. You get to see what everyone's doing, what are the topics of conversation. And this year, I think it's tokenization of stocks. I think the big deal with Kraken and NASDAQ's been a big focus of conversations here. Prediction markets, event contracts are a big focus. And the evolution of the retail trader. I've been coming here for a long time and retail trading was not talked about. Now it's front and center.
And I wanted to ask you that because you've been involved with retail traders for a long time. And obviously a lot of conversations this year about prediction markets, event markets. How do you see those fitting in? And what do you think they need to do well to open up that space and do it in a way that's good for the retail trader?
It's such an interesting discussion right now, right? Because first of all, event contracts aren't new, right? They've been around for a while. But they become a lot more mainstream. You can't even turn the TV on now without seeing a Kelshi or Polymarket commercial. Or if you go on X, it's really a lot of ways people are like, what's leading the news cycles right now? And it's a very different dynamic now. I think the presidency between Kamala Harris and President Trump was really a game changer. Then the Super Bowl followed it up. I think prediction markets have their place. And I'm one of those people where I'm just not 100% sure what it is yet. I mean, is it something that the active day trader is looking at going, oh, I'm going to go start, using prediction markets for sports and all of that stuff? Or is it another way for people to come in and look at, our markets in a different way, right? Is it an addition to what everyone that is already currently trading going to start using? Or is it bringing people in that maybe wouldn't have looked at us in another way? And I think that conversation will continue to move forward. I think they have their place, just as though when crypto, I think it's different, but when crypto first came here, everyone's like, oh, is crypto going to last? What's this going to look like? Is this going to be short-lived? No one believed really the Bitcoin story. I think prediction markets are going through there right now, but I think they're here to stay. And how they look in a year or 2 or 5 years, we'll see.
All right. The other thing we need to see is you brought up tokenization and tokenization of equities, moving to 24/7 trading. Where do you think we are in the process of tokenizing assets? Is it still the early phase, or where do you see the conversations on the stage versus kind of the operational reality of what we're able to do?
Well, I think it's here. I mean, I think that it's got momentum. I think that, this is not really my expertise, but I look at it and say, I think the demand is there. I mean, you look at what's happening in the world right now. When we talk about futures markets, they're open 5.5 or whatever it is, right? And then you have crypto that's 24/7. Look, I don't love that everything's going 24/7, but I think that's what the reality is. I mean, On the weekends now, there's news. I mean, you see a lot of this news is actually happening on the weekend, on purpose or not, we don't know. Probably is. But, when you look at everything, coming out on a Friday or a Saturday and, people want to have a way to react and they want to have a way to trade, they want to be able to protect their positions. I think, that's one reason why I think it's going to have nothing but momentum. And I also think the ability to transfer a tokenized stock from one person to the other, I think is a really interesting conversation. Again, not my world, but I could see where it brings value to the space. And I just think that it's here, it's happening.
And you were moderating a panel yesterday, and I'm curious, any part of that conversation, well, what was the conversation? And was there anything that came up during it that surprised you or, stuck with you?
So the conversation yesterday was with CEO of NinjaTrader, Marty Franchi. Then you had CEO of Kraken, Arjun Sethi. And then you had JB McKenzie from Robinhood and Mark Ullmans from CME Group. And with that group, it was really about more of the evolution of the retail trader. Again, we're at a conference to where I've been coming here for over a decade. Retail was not really discussed here. I came here, did what you guys are doing, talk with people in the audience through my podcast, Futures Radio Show. And it was hard to get people to really talk about retail. And then several years ago, micros took a big splash in the space. Obviously, crypto brought in a lot of retail, but now we look at it. What's everyone talking about today? Prediction markets, and we're talking about crypto, tokenized stocks. We're talking a lot more about retail products and how they fit into the equation. And when I look at everything that what we talked about yesterday in that panel was like how those different companies are finding traders where they are in their journey. So now it went from a revolution to an evolution, and then all of these CEOs and what the exchanges are doing and finding ways to capture the best products or provide the best tools or software or technology for where a trader is in their journey, I think is something really interesting. And that's what the topic of conversation was.
All right. And not to get ahead of ourselves, but as you think ahead to next year, what do you think is important for the industry to get right and to be focused on over the coming year?
The regulation of what's going to happen with prediction markets is going to be interesting to see where we are in a year from now. We're going to go through midterms, and you wonder what kind of regulations change. Again, not my world, but you wonder how that impacts everything we're talking about today. And I'm going to be very curious to see how the tokenization of stocks, the Kraken and NASDAQ, and how that looks and what that does. What's the ripple effect of some of these things, right? Like, what do other exchanges do? What are other people in this industry do? Again, there's this evolution. How much we're not talking a ton about AI right now, but I think that everyone's kind of figuring out what AI means, not only for their businesses and how they run their businesses, but what does it mean for traders? I wouldn't be surprised if AI becomes a more stronger topic of conversation next year. I know that we're doing some cool stuff at NinjaTrader for traders to be able to utilize AI, to build strategies, build indicators. And there's that to me just becomes something that becomes more of a focus next year.
All right. Well, look forward to catching up with you again next year.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you all very much.
All right. Thanks, Anthony.